The Maelstrom Wanderer versus Teferi Temporal Archmage. Really hate this deck. And it doesn't look like we're going to be able to get out from underneath them very quickly. I have to mulligan that and try and get off to as fast a start as possible. That is even worse. That is even worse. That is bad also. Well, we're just going to have to keep it and hope. There's a land at least. It's 2 tap lands, not that we need to get down anything quickly. We'll go for our blue tap land, then we can go in for Mystical Tutor into ramp. We can go for a Farseek. We won't be able to cast the Farseek though, thanks to Cinderglade coming in tapped. Teferi Temporal Archmage is a 6 mana Planeswalker commander. It's 5 loyalty, -1 untap up to 4 target permanents. That's the main reason that this deck is so good. +1 is look at the top 2 cards of your library. One goes into your hand, the other goes on the bottom. And then -10, you can activate loyalty abilities of Planeswalkers at instant speed. Of course, we get down into one of the biggest spells that we could possibly draw into. Let's go in for Mystical Tutor at the end step. Maelstrom Wanderer is an 8 mana Temur commander. And that is a 7/5. Gives our creatures haste and it cascades twice when we cast it. And our opponent gets into lots and lots of mana. So we have little to no chance of doing anything this game. Okay, we're just going for Nature's Law here. Oh no, we're not. We went for 3 visits. Can you tell my brain switched off? Our opponent has gotten down a Mana Crypt and a Grindstone. That is 3 in tap. Target player mills 2. If both cards share a colour, repeat this process. No doubt part of some kind of combo. Well, we're making land drops at least. Let's watch this Thran Dynamo get countered. Oh, and a mana drain of all things. So if they didn't have the mana before, they certainly have the mana to get down to Teferi now. They actually cleared 2 more big creatures off the top, in Inferno Titan and Avenger of Zendikar. So it looks like we are not destined to get into our ramp this game. And there we go. Teferi comes down and it's pretty much free. Not only because of the mana drain, but because it untaps Mana Crypt and the 3 lands. In my opinion, this thing should say untap up to 4 target non-land permanents. The fact that it can untap lands is just... I mean, I don't know what they were thinking with that. It's not a green commander. I know that blue can untap permanents sometimes, but I really think that thing should say non-land permanents. Alright, a Preordain. Let's see what we can get going with that. There's a Nature's Law and a Bloodbraid Elf. Bloodbraid Elf next turn, maybe. Yeah, we'll go... Oh, we're going to draw a card, aren't we? I was thinking we could cascade into the Nature's Law, but there's no way for us to do that. Yeah, we'll put them on top like that. We'll have to shuffle away that Bloodbraid Elf, I think. Actually, no, we'll just go for Shaman of the Forgotten Ways. And this thing taps for 2 mana, but we can only use the mana to cast creature spells. And then if we ever got up to 9 mana, we can have each player's life total become equal to the number of creatures they control. But we can only do that if we control creatures with total power of 8 or greater, which should be easy enough if we can get down our commander. Alright, and our opponent has stolen our Shaman of the Forgotten Ways with the Vidalcan Shackles. So it looks like we're destined to do absolutely nothing this game, like I said. Let's just see if we can get into anything with the Bloodbraid Elf. Okay, Findhorn Elves is ramp at least. Now, I think they're going to keep hold of the Shaman of the Forgotten Ways so that we can't ramp into Maelstrom Wanderer, because we were actually quite close to a Maelstrom Wanderer there. We've got 4/5 mana. We'll have a 6 mana next turn. You never know, we might get into Ancient Tomb or something like that. Oh, and a future sight from our opponent as well. They can make a land drop off of that. Intuition, no doubt, goes for some kind of combo package. We're up to 7 cards in hand. Let's go for the Nature's Law. This can grab us a tap land, save us playing a tap land later on when we could do with an untapped land. And then it's Worn Power Stone. And I think the Vidalcan Shackles cares about power. Gain control of a target creature with power less than or equal to the number of islands you control. They've got 6 islands in play. They'll have their 7th next turn, which means they'll be able to steal Maelstrom Wanderer. Pretty much the only thing you can do against Maelstrom Wanderer is pacify it or steal it from your opponent. And yeah, this is a really one-sided game. We just had to mulligan down too far, and Teferi Temporal Archmage is just an obnoxious deck anyway. And we get milled for a bunch there. Oh, they must have got the combo off on us. Oh yeah, there we go. Painter's Servant combo there. That makes all cards that aren't on the battlefield spells and permanents the chosen type. And it doesn't really matter what our opponent chooses. They chose black, and that made all the cards in our deck black. And then Grindstone 3 and tap. Target player mills 2, and then does it again if the cards share a colour. They of course share a colour because they're all black, and we end up milling our entire library. So there we go, that's Teferi Temporal Archmage. And that was the Grindstone and Painter's Servant combo. Hope you all enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one. Okay, let's have a go again with Maelstrom Wanderer, getting flashbacks from the previous game against the Painter Servant. This is the Scarecrow Commander, the Reaper King, and we're obviously still running the Maelstrom Wanderer. Previous game we were up against Teferi Temporal Archmage, and this time it's in our opening hand. We have Miri's Guile, which I think I will get into first instead of the birds. And that way we can start filtering our draws straight away. The Reaper King is Wooburg, or 10 mana, or a combination of any of those. Other scarecrows you control get +1/+1. Whenever another scarecrow enters under your control, you can destroy a permanent. And that is a 6 mana artifact creature scarecrow. Miri's Guile allows us to look at the top 3 cards. Scroll Rack is not a bad draw at all, so let's go. Yeah, I would like to get into that fetch at some point, but I want to get Scroll Rack into play first. Not in any particular hurry to get it down, we'll just go birds first. And leave it at that. The Maelstrom Wanderer is an 8 mana Temur commander, 7/5, gives our creatures haste, and you cascade twice when you cast it. Tooth and Nail, not too worried about. I don't mind shuffling both of these away, actually. So let's go Scroll Rack. And then we will shuffle those away. We'll get down a Stomping Ground, and I think we might actually activate the Scroll Rack before the end of our opponent's turn. So we'll leave up Bird's mana, and we'll yield until the end step. Scroll Rack allows us to put cards on top of our library, but draw that many cards beforehand. So we put 3 cards on top in any order, it doesn't matter, we're going to see them all with Miri's Guile, and we actually don't have a means of shuffling our library, which I was hoping for. So we can go 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 into Gilded Lotus. Yeah, I'll just keep hold of the Teferi here. Yeah, so next turn we should be able to get down Teferi. And then on tap 4 permanents, that is 1, 2, 3 and 4. Yeah, and then we'll still be able to go for Maelstrom Wanderer, so we might as well end up with a Planeswalker in play if we're going to do that. And it's just lands on top, so we might as well get into Command Tower. That's the best land there. And no, we don't want to go for Maelstrom Wanderer yet. We want Teferi Temporal Archmage first. And then we minus, untap 4 permanents. That is the 4 permanents that we use to get down Teferi. So here's exactly the reason he's so powerful. He effectively comes down for free. And then we can clear off the top of our library. We've just got lands on top. So we'll see if we can get anything going here. Okay, well there's a Findhorn Elves. We're at the very least clearing the top of our library to see some new cards with Miri's Guile. There we go, Sphinx of Athun is the type of thing we want to see. We get a fact or fiction here. And it looks like we're just taking Kiki-Jiki from the pile. Well, that's fine with me. Lots of ramp and a Kiki-Jiki. Yeah, the Praetor's Council isn't actually doing anything for us. I'm surprised they divided it up the way they did there. Yes, so let's go Maelstrom Wanderer and Sphinx of Athun swinging in our opponent. And then we might as well scroll rack and see some new cards maybe. I definitely want to keep Kiki-Jiki in our hand. Doesn't matter what order the 3 cards go in because we're going to see them with Miri's Guile. And then we can shuffle those away with Mystical Tutor, so that works out very nicely for us. Okay, Brainstorm from our opponent. Yeah, and our opponent didn't see anything there. That's a pretty disappointing scoop there. We knew what we were drawing into. We would have gone into Mystical Tutor for something there just to shuffle our library. And then Kiki-Jiki would have come down. Maybe we could have gotten down Mana Reflection first, actually. That would have been... Yeah, I think we could, actually. We could have got down Mana Reflection. Then Kiki-Jiki, that would have copied Sphinx of Athun. We would have gotten another fact or fiction. We would have just gone off from there. And it looks like we were getting in commander damage to our opponent pretty quickly if they didn't use spot removal on Maelstrom Wanderer next turn. But even if they did, we could have just recast it the turn after. That's the problem with Maelstrom Wanderer. But anyway, hope you all enjoyed those games. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.